Welcome back. We're joined now by the longest-serving African-American White House correspondent and our beast of the week, April Ryan. April, you looked incredible at the weekend at the White House Correspondents Dinner. Yeah, you had a green dress with these incredible feathers. You two could have flown away, like me and Sam in our eyelashes.
With our false eyelashes.
For those who weren't at the dinner, Sam wasn't there. Tell us what it was like.
It was the oddest thing I've ever been to. Mind you, I've been to about 28 of them now. 28 years, 28 White House Correspondents Association dinners. We had no president. The president is typically the guest of honor. He does not put it on. He is the guest of honor typically. And what happens is that we roast him and he roasts us back. And now, I don't know if this is going to set a precedent or not. But what's happening is, I'm sorry, my husband just keeps calling me. He knows I'm on with you guys.
Well, that's nice. It's better that he's calling you than not calling you.
It shows that he loves me, I guess. But no, It was the weirdest thing because we didn't have the president. He wasn't roasted. He didn't roast us back, and we didn't have entertainment. And you all know why we didn't have entertainment, because Amber Ruffin, the comedian that was set to roast the president and roast us and talk about whatever she wanted to talk about, was fired, essentially, because of what she said on the Daily Beast. So it was weird, but I did enjoy what Eugene Daniels, the president of the association, had to say. This is a very tense moment for the press. The president is encroaching upon our territory. We're losing ground. And once you lose ground, you never get it back. And Eugene spoke of the moment about the free press. He spoke of the moment about what this means for the American public. See, people think it's just a fight between us and the press. It's not that. It's a fight about information that goes to the American public. I mean, look at what's happening now. If the president, gets his way, we won't be around. This is a real moment. And if the press weren't there to ask questions and get answers or dig, the American public would be sitting here scratching their head, what's going on?
So we're 100 days in. We're all unpacking the first 100 days of this administration, and it is has been obviously an astonishing experience. I mean, I know it's too soon to talk about when it will be over, but how are we actually going to put the horses back in the barn? Do you have any sense of that? I mean, you're a veteran of the White House press room.
How are we going to get the horse back in the barn? Well, let's say this. Let's say the barn has burned down and there's no barn to go back to.
Yes.
Let's try that. The first 100 days have been like drinking out of a fire hose. It's impossible.
Right.
And they say flood the zone. It's called, I'm going to be honest with you, it's over the top. It's too much. One story over top the other. The president just says whatever he wants. He and Elon Musk were friends. Now they're not. The list goes on. Now let's talk about the American people. We've had measles.
April, before we do, can I just ask you one thing? Is the White House Press Association still useful? The Axios reporter Alex Thompson accepted an award and berated the association for missing the Biden health story.
And the camera went right to me while I was drinking. I said, oh, Lord.
I don't think he was targeting you specifically, but he was pretty aggressive about saying that the association, the reporters essentially missed the story or deliberately, knowingly covered it up. And Carolyn Levitt obviously just comes out and says whatever she feels like saying. This week we saw Amazon potentially labeling tariff costs on customers' bills. She came out and said it was a political and hostile act. So she says what she likes. So what is the point? I understand the American people need an account of what's going on, but the AP's no longer in the room. So what is the point of the White House correspondents at this point?
AP is in the room. However, they're not being called on. AP is going through exhaustive attempts. When the president flies, they're not allowed to fly on Air Force One or the press charter, so they go their own way. They find a way to get there. And, reporters are banding together to help them get information, to put out the pool reports so that we all can get the information. I want to say, yes, we are still useful. But in reality, They're taking it over. They're creating who they want to come into the Oval Office to address the president. Caitlin Collins from CNN. It took it took her it took her a long time. She was the only reporter in there with the El Salvadorian president who asked the question for really the raison d'etre of the meeting. We are still viable. We are very viable. However, we have to be creative in our being viable, and we have to continue. We have to go back to the basics like 101. I'm not into chastising other journalists, but we have to go back to the basics and not be friends of the president, not be embedded with the president, and ask the questions. We are the fourth estate, Joanna. We are the fourth estate. The next line of questioning when all else fails, when the judiciary fails, when the legislative branch fails, and when the White House fails. All three branches are now in the realm of the conservative movement or MAGA, whatever you want to call it. But you have us still asking the questions. And now Caitlin Collins and others and I are still in that room. However, Caroline Levitt chooses to call those who are very sympathetic and love the president of the United States instead of seeing him for who he is and asking pointed questions.
I mean, the WHCA they didn't even source a correct photo of you. Like, do you feel like, are they really meeting this
That
moment?
was a bad
That
moment.
is very basic.
You were sort of honored for being the longest serving African American correspondent in the White House press room.
Of the White House.
And then they flashed up in the history of the White House, and then they flashed up a picture of
my
Yamiche.
dear friend Yamiche. We don't look alike. And I love that story you did. People were like, oh my God, they put April and Yamiche together like that. That's my girl, though. And I called her. She said, hey, April. I said, no. I'm Yamiche. You're April. And we laughed. We got a laugh out of it. But it was embarrassing for her. You could see her squirming. And I'm like, at first I was sitting there because I was like, okay, I didn't even know. I was out of it kind of sort of. I didn't even know it was happening. When I heard my name, I said, wait a minute. I said, that's not me. That's Yamiche. And then so my husband's like, this is her. Come over here, Cameron. I'm like, oh God. So, and I mean, it was awful. We have gone beyond that kind of time when Black people all look the same. I'm like, this is crazy.
Well, let's say I could wave my magic wand and put you in charge of the White House Correspondents Association. How would you take things back to basics? Like, how would you run things? How would you right the ship? I do feel like this big cruise ship is in a bit of chaos. I mean, the situation with Amber, it was very bad. I think
it's not. It's been a bad week for Black women with the White House correspondents. Amber's. Well, what if he got it wrong? What if they fired the wrong person?
Well,
they mistook her for someone else.
You never censor someone's craft and their art. You never do that.
No.
And I'm like, what? So, I had been on the board of the White House Correspondents Association. I was on for 3 years when Barack Obama was president. And I was there when we hit the 100th anniversary. And I chose not to stay. I chose not to go for re-election because I felt like I was a help. And when I say that, I felt like, it's a lot of grudge work. I was in charge of the refrigerator in the kitchen that kept breaking, and we had to bring the people in when the president was gone, and it was such an arduous task. I mean, people would complain about the toilets are not working, or there's no toilet paper in there, or the relationship with the press and the president. You ran the gambit. But after a while, I said, this is not, and do my job. I said, this is not for me. But if I were president, this would not be a time when I'm trying to curry favor. I would not demand a meeting with Caroline Levitt. She's not the power. The power is the president of the United States. I would impress upon him what's going on and how it does not bode well for him to have people in there who are avid supporters and fanning out, fangirl or fanboying out.
Right.
Two of the examples in the same day, going back to that Volodymyr Zelensky meeting, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend chastised Volodymyr Zelensky, why aren't you wearing a suit? But here comes Elon Musk with a baseball cap and an overcoat and a t-shirt. And his kid in there telling the president to shut up. But the protocol for the Oval Office is that jacket and a tie and a collared shirt. But they didn't ask that. And then also that same day when Volodymyr Zelensky was in the Oval Office, when the president literally ran him out, you had a Russian TV journalist in there, and they don't know how they got in there. For real? This is the most powerful office in the land, Secret Service everywhere, and you don't know how. I don't. I don't know.
How does it affect the morale in the room when someone from the Daily Wire can put their hand up and be like, just why are you all doing such an awesome job?
The morale is horrible because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little insight, and I know they're going to get mad, but when the front row, the illustrious front row, does not get called on, and it's like Fox and maybe a ABC, and that's it on the front row, they all go outside and gather and talk to each other. They don't like it.
Right.
And it is horrible. It is a horrible moment because he's not doing well. His numbers are underwater. Like that black man who ran for mayor in New York City. He said the rent is too damn high. Well, the price of everything is too damn high. We're losing money in the stock market. Everything's fluctuating. You got people being laid off, truckers, UPS. We're scared about our food. I mean, this president is not doing well. And for you to come with the narrative that, oh, you're just doing so well, he's not. And I understand that, they're reaching out to other people in the Republican Party to try to help them come back and fix some of the mistakes that they made. So this is a moment when you can't get needed items from around the world. That's a problem. And that shows a failure when people can't go about their daily lives.
You're going back in there this afternoon, I believe. So good luck. Sam, if you had a question for the White House briefing, what would it be?
Oh my God! Don't put me on the spot. Can you all go away? Can you stop? Get out of our eyeballs. Please just govern us. Have you ever thought about just governing? And my second question would be, why are you so awesome?
I really want to know if he's on Ozempic, though, because we definitely spot it. I think he's been losing weight, and I know we have a call in. April, you see him. Do you think he's lost weight?
Can I tell you something? I don't know if he's lost weight or maybe he's using a spank.
You know what? He's doing a triple spank.
A man spank.
A Manx. I think they're called Manx.
Yeah, but you triple them up. You triple them up.
He's got triple Manx.
Triple
I
Manx.
don't know. That's painful.
Oh, yeah. No,
They're
it's
very
terrible.
cheap on Shine, though.
Yeah.
They're very cheap on
It's not
Shine. Get
comfortable.
them before the tariffs hit. April Ryan, congratulations on your extraordinary career, long-serving White House correspondent. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you'll come back and join us again.
I'll join you anytime you ask. Thank you, guys.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much.